to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, to a brand new video today, which is going to be coming up for you. And I have to say, it does contain something I feel to be a bit different, because obviously over the past few days, we've been speaking about transfers, we've been talking about the arrival of Frenkie de Jong, about the arrival of Antoine Griezmann, so much excitement there because of those new signings. But in today's video, it's not about new signings, it's not about transfers. What it's about is young players, young, exciting talents, 4 of them in particular, who I believe this season, you've got to keep an eye on them. You've got to keep watch on these young prospects, because for me, we could be looking at the start, at least, of the new generation at Barcelona. And after years of seeing players come up through the ranks, make their name, we haven't had anything significant now for too long at Barcelona. This year, we have to see some quality. We've certainly got it there. And these 4, for me, are something I feel to be very excited about. But before we do begin here today, guys, what I want to say really is exactly the same as I did when we talked about Frenkie de Jong and the excitement there we had for him. But at the same time, of course, we do still have doubts over the capabilities of our head coach Ernesto Valverde. We certainly still have doubts towards the current board, Bartomeu, and the regime right now at Barcelona. But at the same time, just like I said with Frenkie de Jong, the players that we're going to discuss here today, they're going to be here long after they've gone. As simple as that. They're going to be here after those times have gone and after a new chapter has begun. So still, we can get excited about them. We can get excited still about the future of Barca, because these 4 for me are very special. And we start right here by discussing Carlos Alania, who's certainly been in the news very recently. Of course, he's given his shirt number very nicely, I feel, actually, to offer up there the number 21 shirt to Frenkie de Jong. De Jong's going to take 21 for the coming season. Carlos Alania is going to take number 19. And I feel here, like Alania, could be set for a very exciting season. Because, of course, following last season, he broke through into the first team. I think he really did establish himself well. Every time he came on, he had an impact. He did something to make you sit up and take some notice. And that's what you've got to do as a young player. You've got to come in, you've got to make an impact very quickly, especially at Barcelona right now, because otherwise you won't get the chances, and that's where it gets tough. But I think with Alania, actually, it's quite easy to forget here. He's still just 21 years old. He's still just a 21-year-old player coming through. He's still a young talent, even though for me, he seems a lot older. He seems a lot more mature than 21 years old. And I think here we've got a hugely talented player, because I'm so excited this season to actually see how he kicks on. Because last season, he came onto the scene, he showed promising signs, he showed some very good qualities. What's he going to do now in the coming campaign? Because last season, he actually made 27 appearances in total across La Liga, the Champions League, Copa del Rey as well. 27 appearances there is not bad there for somebody breaking through and trying to make their name in the first team. And obviously there, the majority of those appearances, yes, were coming off the bench in late in games, coming on as a sub. But at the same time, he got on the pitch. And I think we really can be encouraged by Alania's quality, and in particular, the type of quality that he is going to bring to this team. Because I think actually he's a very special and unique talent that we've got coming through. Because you think about his characteristics overall from the midfield position, because yes, he's a midfielder as such, but he does perform in a very different way to anything I feel that we currently have in the first team. Because of course, he's got the technical quality, he's got the passing ability, he's very good on the ball, he's got a good first touch, he's very capable with the ball at his feet. But at the same time, he can be very clinical in front of goal. From that midfield, he can make certain runs, he can make certain plays in front of goal that are not really like a midfielder that we have right now. He's a player who can be different, who can give you different options, which throughout the season could be very valuable. And I think certainly, you look at him last season, you look at certain moments which certainly stand out for me. You think about Alania coming on at the Camp Nou against Villarreal, a very good opposition. At the Camp Nou, in front of all those fans, he makes his name. He makes a brilliant 1-2 there into Lionel Messi. He makes the run, that kind of run that I'm talking about, from deep, in behind. He gets in behind, and once he's in front of goal there, he shows that cool, clinical nature that Alania has showed not only in Barcelona first team, but also in his time with Barcelona B. He can score goals. It was a brilliant moment, combining there with Messi, celebrating with him as well. And that, for me, was Alania's arrival. He made big impacts as well in other games. I remember him coming on against Sevilla when we were down in the game. He made a big impact there to turn it around again, combining with Messi. That's what it's all about. He's a player, I feel, this season who can certainly be more trusted, play more games, more starts especially. And for me, that productivity in front of goal, that edge that he can give us from midfield, from deep, advancing there into some crucial areas, that for me is very exciting. And he's got all the tools you need to be successful here. And the second player that we are going to discuss is none other than Rickey Pooch, another exciting midfield player, a man here 2 years younger than Carlos Alania, at just 19 years old, Rickey Pooch. But at the same time, he's a player who's actually regarded as somebody with an even higher ceiling than the talented Alania has, which should certainly excite all of us fans, because of course in a midfield position he is somebody, for me, who we are talking about Barcelona DNA. That's what Pooch has, that's what he clearly has in his game. He has all the characteristics here for me to be something very, very special. And we actually started to see that talent coming through to the first team starting last pre-season. He was on pre-season tour in the United States playing against some very, very good teams, but he stood up tall. He stood up, he took his chances, and suddenly people were talking. Players of the game, players in our team, and of course fans, we were noticing what Pooch was doing. And I think certainly that time again this season, pre-season, that period there where he can impress, that'll be vital for him once again this summer to make his mark. Because certainly for me, there's no question about it, the talent is there with Pooch. The talent is there to make a big impression at the top level. And we only went on really to see that when Pooch was given his chance in the first team last season as well. He came into the first team towards the end of last season. Of course, there wasn't an awful lot to play for, but he made 3 first team appearances, which I think actually is really important for him to actually see there is a way into the first team. There is a chance for you to go up, step up, grab your chances. And again, just like Alania, he was very, very cool, calm, composed. That's what you need in the Barcelona midfield. And I think Pooch certainly has that quality, because you look at him as a player, and I think he's extremely suited to the Barcelona way, for the way he speaks about himself, the way he is as a player, for the way he conducts himself as well on and off the pitch. He loves the club. He loves the club. He loves the way we play. He loves the way we want to play as well. And I think, of course, a few people looked at Rickey Pooch when he came into the first team also for Barcelona B. You looked at him and you looked at his stature and you thought maybe he's a bit small. Maybe he's not quite ready here for the first team. Is he going to get brushed off the ball? But at the same time, don't let that fool you. Yes, he might be small. Yes, he might be slight in his stature, but he can use his body well. He uses his body well. He can run with the ball. He can take on the best of them. Doesn't matter about that size. Don't fall into that mistake here of thinking small players don't work. That has never, ever been the case at Barcelona. Rickey Pooch can be a success. Do not worry about that, because it doesn't change here what he's capable of with the ball. That's the most important thing at Barcelona. Yes, you want players who are physically strong, physically good, but that has never been the Barcelona way through and through. What he can do with the ball, what he can do with the ball at his feet, the way he can move through it, that's what you want. You need there the qualities that he has, the intelligence in his mind, the way that he's custom made for a Barcelona team. That is what we have with Rickey Pooch, and I think a very exciting talent, one we have to see this season integrated slowly but surely into that first team, and here's to hoping we can see a lot more of this young man. Now then, for the third player, and we do move from midfield to the centre and the heart of our defence, is going to talk about our 19-year-old French defender, Jean-Claire Todibo, who of course was brought in January 2019 from Toulouse after his signing was actually brought forward by 6 months, because we were actually due to sign him this summer on a free transfer from Toulouse, but instead of actually doing that, because he was frozen out of their team, because he wasn't getting any football whatsoever, because they knew he was going to leave, we brought that signing forward, we paid a small fee, and Todibo had 6 vital months here, bedding in at Barcelona, and I think that's a massive thing for him, because what he got to do, he got to come to the city, he got to come to the club, he was announced, he was presented, he was signed, he's got to train with the players, and that 6-month period of just bedding him in with no pressure, that's going to be massive for him. He got an early taste of first team football, he's been included in matchday squad, he's travelled with the team to Champions League games, and that's what it's all about as a young player. Coming in, incorporating yourself, settling in with your colleagues, with your teammates, that's what you want to have. Really understand the club that you're at, and I think certainly, you look at the way that he played at the end of the season, he featured in 2 La Liga games towards the end of the campaign again, and he looks like a really bright young centre-back who's composed, who's calm on the ball, and that's a theme here. We've got a lot of players here who can step up, who won't be overawed by the occasion, by the weight of the expectation. These players can perform, they can make that step up, they're fully capable of doing that, and I think Todibo, he's very good on the ball, he's strong in a tackle, and I think there's certainly a lot of potential there. And you look at it this season, we haven't signed De Ligt, he's going to be going to Juventus. You look at it as well, Murillo has left the club, he's ended his loan here, Vermaelen's contract has expired, he's gone as well. There are certainly vacancies there in the centre-back role, and I think Todibo can be the man to step up there and be the 4th centre-back, to play football, to have matches under his belt, to be there as added cover at the heart of our defence. And I think certainly he understands that. He can feel right now there's an opening there, he needs to grab it. And I think you saw that when he arrived early with Ousmane Dembele to pre-season training, working hard. That's the kind of attitude that Barcelona will be really impressed with, and that's why Todibo came and did it, and did that extra extra work to really give himself the best chance this season and in pre-season of making that impact and stepping up. And I think now you look at him in training, you look at his general persona, and I think he's actually getting really, really nicely into this team right now. He's bedding in with his teammates, certainly the French compatriots that he has in the team, particularly Dembele. He seems quite close to him. He seems quite at home in the club, and that's really important as well for a young player, to feel like you belong in the first team, to feel like you belong alongside these players. And certainly for me, Todibo, he has the talent, he has the quality there at centre-back. There's a vacancy this season, and I think very much so he's suited to the Barcelona style of play and a very, very exciting young defender to keep an eye on this season. And the final player that I do want to talk about in today's video is none other than Moussa Waggy, the 20-year-old young right-back who, of course, he brought in last summer from Eupen in Belgium. And we shouldn't forget, really, that when we brought in Waggy from his side in Belgium, he'd already come off the back there of a very, very strong showing at the 2018 World Cup with his country, Senegal. He even scored a goal at the World Cup. And you shouldn't forget here, this is a guy who's already had some big game experience in his career and shown there that he can play at the very, very top level. And for Senegal, that good experience, that quality has only continued really this summer. He's gone from a World Cup now to the African Cup of Nations, where his country have reached the final. And that's a really, really big deal. Because yes, Waggy technically hasn't played in all of those games as Senegal reached the final. He's featured in 2 of the matches so far in the group stage. But at the same time, it's good to be around players there and good to have that experience of going deep in a tournament and experiencing those kind of high-pressured moments. And that'll only add to the experience, really, for young Moussa Waggy. And of course, it's all about translating that, really, into club football as well. And for Barcelona B last season, he made 20 appearances, some good showings there, some promising displays for Barcelona B. And whilst his first team debut there did come later than we expected, and to be honest, later than we'd hoped simply because of documentation issues, Waggy would have made his debut much, much sooner. But because of those problems with the documentation, he was only cleared to play at the beginning of 2019. That impacted really how much of a role he could have in the first team last season. But this season, he won't have any trouble, because at the end of the campaign, 3 La Liga appearances that he went on to make, again, much like Todibo, much like Rickey Pooch, he came onto the scene, he didn't look like he was under pressure, he didn't look out of place, he showed some promise, particularly going forward there as an attack-minded fullback, getting into good areas and putting some good balls into the box. That was very, very promising there with Moussa Waggy. And following suggestions here this summer from the Spanish media that Waggy could indeed return to pre-season here a bit later, but when he does, he may be given the chance there by Ernesto Valverde to actually step up this season to the first team and provide cover there in the right-back area. And I just want to say here, at right-back, we've had uncertainty with Sergio Roberto and also with Nelson Semedo. It's a good time for somebody here like Moussa Waggy to be coming up, to prove themselves, to show their quality, because in the future, you never know what can happen. And right now, he's in a very, very good place with a lot of good talent to go out there and show that he belongs in the first team. So that's just my thoughts there on 4 exciting young players right now coming through at Barcelona, and for me it is exciting times. And of course guys, these aren't the only players who are coming through right now in the Barcelona system, but these are just 4 really that I really want to keep an eye on this season, and I really do hope they can go on and show their quality and show some good things. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. What are your thoughts here on Alania, on Pooch, on Todibo and on Waggy, and anybody else here who you feel could have an impact this season from those youth ranks? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you soon with more videos. But until next time, as always, Vesca El Barça.
Barça!